the meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. This meeting is an in-person meeting located at 870 Colfax, as noted above. Questions may be submitted beforehand to liz.goodwin@bhas.org or presented in person during the public comment sections as indicated in the agenda. Board members may be contacted through the emails below. Requests for special assistance, including for persons with disabilities, may be sent to liz.goodwin@bhas.org. I call this meeting to order officially at 5:37 p.m. We will begin by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Secretary Triplett, can you please call the roll?
Whoever put this sheet, okay. Trustee Robinson.
Present.
Trustee Bowen.
Present.
Trustee Triplett. Present. Trustee Creighton.
Present.
Trustee Doyle.
Present.
Trustee Gavin.
Present.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Present.
Quorum has been established.
All right, thank you, Trustee Triplett. A quorum has been established. Next on the agenda, we have election of a temporary chairperson. As you all are aware, being that I was the president through the 31st of last year, we technically at this particular time had to elect a temporary chairperson until our president for the 2024 year is determined. So at this particular time, I'll ask if there is a motion for a temporary chair. And who are
Make a
you?
motion, Trustee Robinson serve in the capacity of temporary chair.
Is there a second or support? The motion has been made by Trustee Triplett and supported by Trustee Rocket Martin. Questions, comments, or concern? Hearing none, Trustee Triplett, can you please call the vote?
Trustee Bowen.
Yes.
Trustee Creighton.
Yes.
Trustee Doyle.
Yes.
Trustee Gavin.
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Again, Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Triplett. Yeah. You know, I was just looking at the order.
Yeah. All right, so next on the agenda is approval of the agenda. I do want to make one quick clarification. Number F on the agenda has election of the 2024 officers. However, that is technically a part of our organizational meeting. That is item A under the organizational meeting. Therefore, we do not technically need to have item F as noted on the agenda. So at this particular time, is there a motion to approve the agenda with the noted removal of item F? Is there a second or support?
Support.
The motion has been made by Trustee Triplett and supported by Trustee Bowens. Questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Trustee Triplett, can you please call the vote?
Trustee Bowen.
Yes.
Trustee Creighton.
Yeah.
Trustee Doyle.
Yes.
Trustee Gavin.
Yes.
Trustee Robinson.
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Triplett. Yes.
All right, next is the review of the board norms for the Board of Education. Liz, if you could do me the honor of pulling those up. The Board of Education norms for Benton Harbor area schools: we will treat each other with respect. We will listen to learn. We will refrain from side conversations. We will use our time wisely, starting and ending our meetings on time. We will challenge ideas, not people. We will ask questions when in doubt. There will be no surprises at the board table, and we will practice the 7 norms of collaboration. Those are pausing, paraphrasing, posing questions, putting ideas on the table, providing data, paying attention to self and others, and presuming positive intentions. Next on the agenda, we have public comment on agenda items. Is there anyone here for public comment on agenda items? Hearing none, we'll proceed with board business. Next on the agenda, and our only item of business on our agenda today, is our organizational meeting. So we're gonna start right from the top. We've already taken care of Board Policy 0151, which indicates that the board is allowed to conduct an organizational meeting not earlier than January 1st, immediately following an election held on a November regular election date, and not later than the second Tuesday in January at a meeting held for that purpose. The meeting shall be called by the ranking officer of the preceding board, who shall serve as the presiding officer until election of temporary chairperson, who shall in turn serve until the election of a president. So at this particular time, we are at item A. What I'm going to do is go through and take nominations for each of the positions. Once we have nominations for each of the positions, then we'll come back and take our votes. So the first item, A, is for the office of president. Are there any nominations for the office of president?
Yes, Madam President.
You have the floor, trustee Doyle.
I would like to nominate Elnora Gavins as president.
She indicated that she would like to nominate Elnora Gavin as president. Trustee Gavin, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
All right. Any other nominations for the office of president?
I would like to,
Trustee Rocket Martin.
I'd like to nominate Shauna Robinson, trustee Shauna Robinson for president.
Okay, I accept. Are there any other nominations for the office of president? All right, so hearing none at this particular time, our nominations for the office of president are trustee Gavin and trustee Robinson. Next, item B, office of vice president. Are there any nominations for the office of vice president?
Yes, Madam President.
Trustee Doyle, you have the floor.
Elnora Gavins.
Okay, so we have a nomination for trustee Gavin for the position of vice president. Trustee Gavin, are you accepting this nomination as well for the office of vice president?
Am I allowed to accept both?
It's your choice. I mean, you could accept and see how the vote goes for the post.
I appreciate that, trustee Doyle, I'll accept.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for the office of vice president? Trustee Triplett?
Trustee Bowens.
All right, so a nomination has been received for trustee Bowens. Trustee Bowens, do you accept the nomination?
yes.
Okay. She did. Okay. For the office, next, we have item C for the office of treasurer. Are there any nominations for the office of treasurer?
Yes, Madam President.
Trustee Doyle?
Trustee Creighton.
All right, so trustee Doyle has made a nomination for trustee Creighton. Trustee Creighton, do you accept the nomination?
Yes.
All right. Are there any other nominations for the office of treasurer? All right, hearing none. Item D, we have secretary. Are there any nominations for the office of secretary? Trustee Rocket Martin.
I'd like to nominate trustee Triplett,
All right,
secretary.
trustee Triplett, do you accept the nomination?
Aye.
All right, so the nomination has been accepted by trustee Triplett. Are there any other nominations for the office of secretary? All right, hearing none. So I am going to go over what our election items are. For item A, for the office of president, we have recommended trustee Gavin as well as trustee Robinson. For item B. What is that? Oh, okay, we're gonna continue. For item B, for the office of vice president, we have trustee Gavin and trustee Bowens. For the office of treasurer, we have trustee Creighton, and for the office of secretary, we have trustee Triplett.
Madam Chair,
You have the floor.
I do have some questions, and I think I would just like it to be discussed on the record. I know that there has been, and I don't know the appropriate time, but there's been a lot of conversation and controversy about the different roles. And so is there anywhere that we could clarify the roles and the responsibilities of each officer?
So our bylaws outline them. Get that pulled up for you. Our bylaws outline basic requirements of certain duties for the offices, but then we also receive support for MASB that goes a little bit deeper into what those roles entail. But I can pull up according to our policies. You all give me 1 second. And then Liz, you can actually meet me if you don't mind. If you can pull it up as well, that way people can look as I'm perusing. All right, so we are going to go down to, the first one is 017.1. The president of the Board of Education shall preside at meetings of the board, countersign orders legally drawn by secretary upon the treasurer for money to be dispersed on behalf of the school district, cause an action to be prosecuted in the name of the district on the treasurer's bond in case of a breach of condition of the bond, and then D, perform other duties appropriate to the office of president. And that is often where MASB comes in to assist us with what those other duties look like. And then vice president. The vice president of the Board of Education, this is 017.2. 0171.2, my apologies. The vice president of the Board of Education shall A, preside at meetings of the board when the president is not able to attend, B, perform other duties appropriate to the office of vice president as the board determines, and C, in case of a vacancy in the office of president, succeed to the office of president for the balance of an unexpired term. Next up is secretary 071.3. 0171.3, the secretary of the Board of Education shall A, act as the clerk at meetings of the board, B, record and sign the minutes of meetings, orders, resolutions, and other proceedings of the board in proper record books, C, prepare the annual report of the district and other reports required by the state board, D, draw and sign orders upon the district treasurer for money to be dispersed by the school district, and each order shall be properly numbered and dated, shall specify the sources of the funds called for, the purpose for which, and the fund upon which the order is drawn. E, preserve and file copies of reports, books, and papers and other documents belonging to the office of the secretary or to the school district in collaboration with the secretary for the superintendent, and deliver them to successor in office. And F, perform other duties required by law or by the board. So those are, oh, and treasurer, my apologies, the last one. 0171.4, treasurer. The treasurer of the Board of Education shall A, have the care and custody of all monies of the school district, and the treasurer shall deposit funds of the district with the bank or banking corporation or trust company designated by the board in the proportion and manner directed by the board. B, keep proper books of account. C, keep an account of interest received from invested school funds or credit interest received to the appropriate fund accounts. D, pay out funds for the purposes specified by law or in the case or gifts of donations for the purposes for which the money is given or donated, on proper order signed by the secretary and countersigned by the president of the board. And E, perform other duties the board may prescribe in its bylaws relating to the administration of school district funds. So those are the basic determinations for each of the positions. I know there are other areas in the policy where, for example, it might mention the agenda, that what I just read kind of notates the president does the agenda, but I know there's another section that notates the president as the spokesperson, things of that nature. And there's other, clarifications in our bylaws for the other roles, but those are the basic duties. And my apologies if that was long-winded. I just wanted to read through it. All right, so at this particular time, we are going to begin with the office of president. The first nomination that was made was for trustee Gavin. Secretary Triplett, at this particular time, I'd ask that you call the vote for trustee Gavin in the office of president.
President Robinson,
You have the floor.
there's no discussion or anything?
We primarily have not done discussion, but if no one objects, did you have something you wanted to add or a conversation or?
Yeah, I think we're talking about officers, so I think it's worth for conversation.
I don't have any objections unless someone else does. Did you have something you wanted to add or any comments from anyone? You have the floor.
But I
Okay.
want to give people an opportunity to say whatever they want to say.
No one else is asked at this time. You have the floor.
So what I wanted to say is, first of all, I wanted to thank trustee Doyle for nominating me, and I'm not naive to what the numbers are going to turn out to be. But I do think it is important for a person to step up in lieu of what we've seen. And I want to be very clear that this is not, should I start over?
I can hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
I'll bring this closer. If. Okay, is this better?
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. So I just wanted to say that I think that President Robinson does a really good job in terms of professionalism and decorum and etiquette. The areas of concern that I would address if I were the president of the board, or the concerns that I have, is President Robinson's initial vote against creating the CTE director, understanding that we needed that position, vote against replacing the boilers, which led to the delays, which left our kids pretty, cold at times this year. That could have been avoided. The handling of the superintendent evaluations and moving forward without providing the community ample opportunity to provide input before moving for the vote. Concerns about the committee chair appointments, which left us with major challenges in our human resources committee in particular, and concerns about, failing to amply protect our schools with the school zones when this board was informed that the school zones were taken away from us by emergency manager, turning down critical state dollars, allowing the partnership agreement to move forward without requiring a board vote of approval. That took away our democratic rights. And then also without including a recommendation in that partnership agreement that the state of Michigan conduct a study of the harm caused by the school closures. If those types of, issues can be addressed and rectified, I believe that, we would be in a different position right now. And I also believe that, regardless of what this board decides when they vote, I think that these are things that regardless of if it's me or if it's President Robinson, I believe that these are things that can be corrected moving forward. So as you saw, there was nothing that I said that was personal. These were just decisions that I disagree with. And I believe that, if moving forward, we take these types of issues more seriously and treat them with, more of a sense of urgency, we can be in a much better place. Thank you.
All right, any additional comments from the board? All right, I have none at this particular time. So Secretary Triplett, I'm gonna ask that you please call the vote for trustee Gavin in the office of president.
Trustee Bowens,
No.
trustee Creighton,
Yes.
trustee Doyle,
Yes.
trustee Gavin,
Yes.
trustee Robinson,
No.
trustee Rocket Martin,
No.
trustee Triplett, no.
All right, next, Secretary Triplett, I ask that you call the vote for the position of president for trustee Robinson.
Trustee Bowens,
Yes.
trustee Creighton,
Yes.
trustee Doyle,
No.
trustee Gavin,
No.
trustee Robinson,
Yes.
trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
trustee Triplett, yes.
All right, thank you. So for the position of president, we have the trustee Deshauna Robinson. Next, we have the office of vice president. The first person noted was trustee Gavin. Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote for trustee Gavin in the office of vice president? You have a comment?
And if anyone else has a comment, I want to make sure they have an opportunity.
So what I would ask is I'm gonna open the floor up for comments for all positions. So if anyone would like to make a comment, whether it's a position you're nominated for or some feedback that you had, I ask that those comments be made about all of the positions really quickly. And then we can kind of flow through the rest of the vote if that's okay with the board. You have the floor.
Okay, thank you, President Robinson. I would say that, this is a critical position, and who we put in charge here really says a lot about our ethics and our integrity as an organization. There are some major ethics concerns about, who we have in this position. I am concerned once again about the multiple no votes when it comes to the boilers. I am concerned about, allegations of promoting violence between parents. I'm concerned about the handling of the Human Resources Committee. I am concerned about just a lot of things in terms of putting a fox in the hen house. To have someone in a high position like this who has publicly indicated a huge preference to sell off our buildings. And when given the opportunity to invest in the buildings, voted no twice, that's a clue. And so in the absence of the president, it's important that whoever is not there is somebody who has represented the school district in a way that cares deeply about what happens to this district. And I am somebody who not only believes in revitalizing a healthy school system, I believe very deeply in student voice, as my record has shown that. I've always worked to empower the students and listen to them, listen to the staff, listen to people. Even if I disagree, I'm going to listen and try to figure out how to incorporate their ideas and concerns. And I've worked, very hard to help bring dollars back into our district so that it can go directly to our students. And I would say that, that's in spite of people who have had any type of personal issues with me. I think that to be in a position of a vice president that represents Benton Harbor area schools, you have to be somebody who actually has worked diligently and consistently to make sure that our schools stay open and to make sure that our schools have the resources that they deserve. I don't think it has anything to do with friends or popularity or any of that. I think what's most important is that we are representing what's best for our students. And to vote in a different way, I think it indicates an alliance with the mindset of getting rid of our district. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Gavin. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment for vice president, treasurer, or secretary prior to us moving forward with the vote?
I have a few comments.
You have the floor.
Thank you. I just want to say that, and I'm sorry that I didn't say this before. I'm definitely looking forward to a new year. It's a new beginning for us. And so as we move forward, I would like for us to, as we read off the titles, I think it's important, and we've said this, but I think it's important that we get our bylaws and our policies organized so that, the positions that, or officers that, offices that we have, that we're actually following through, and the descriptions actually match with the duties that are expected. Also, I'm looking forward to whomever is chosen by this board, that we have some organization, better organization, not saying that it was, I think it just, it could be better, better organization, full transparency and more follow through. Those are my goals for this year. And so as we move forward, I think it will be just a better situation for all of us if we can work on that. We can actually look at these job descriptions and take them seriously, so that there is less confusion and more, I think, transparency. Yep, transparency. And that's it. And I'm willing and ready to work with whoever is selected in this democracy. But I think it's important that we definitely stop the infighting and that we work on collaborating and being a unit, no matter who is selected, that we're willing and able to work with everyone.
Thank you, Treasurer Creighton. And as a side note, one of the things that I was going to mention later was reviewing our committee's policy so we can look at our officer descriptions in our committees and that policy dually. We can make that a goal for the first quarter.
Thank you.
All right, so at this particular time, if there's no other comments from the board, I'm gonna ask that trustee Triplett please call the vote for the office of vice president. And this is for trustee Gavin for the office of vice president.
Trustee Bowens,
No.
trustee Creighton,
Yes.
trustee Doyle,
Yes.
trustee Gavin,
Yes.
trustee Robinson,
No.
trustee Rocket Martin,
No.
trustee Triplett, no.
All right, next we have Secretary Triplett, I'm sorry, trustee Triplett, can you please call the vote for the position of vice president for trustee Bowens?
Trustee Bowens,
Yes.
trustee Creighton,
So the other one,
It failed.
okay, yes, well,
It did. How many
Okay.
votes? Okay, yeah, it failed.
okay, so yes.
trustee Doyle,
No.
trustee Gavin,
No.
trustee Robinson,
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes.
trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Triplett, yes.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, for the office of vice president for the 2024 calendar year, we have Trenton Bowens. Next up, we have item C for the office of treasurer. We only have trustee Creighton noted. However, we should still take the vote to reflect the formality of it. Trustee Triplett, can you please call the vote?
Trustee Bowens,
Yes.
trustee Creighton,
Yes.
trustee Doyle,
She stepped out.
trustee Gavin,
Yes.
trustee Robinson,
Yes.
trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Triplett, yes.
Thank you. So for the 2024 calendar year, we have Treasurer Angel Creighton. Lastly, we have the Office of Secretary. Trustee Triplett, can you please call the vote?
Trustee Bowens,
Yes.
trustee Creighton,
I'm just kidding. Yes.
trustee. Doyle is not here. Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
trustee Robinson,
Yes.
trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
trustee Triplett, yes.
All right, so congratulations to the Board of Education for the 2024 calendar year. Our officers are as follows. President, trustee Deshauna Robinson, Vice President, trustee Trenton Bowens, Treasurer, trustee Angel Creighton, and Secretary, trustee Ronaldo Triplett. I would normally allow for an opportunity to speak, but I promised you guys that I would get you out of here in an hour, and I'm trying to do that. So I would ask that if you have any celebratory messages or responses to our election that just take place, that you embed them in your closing comments. Next on the agenda, we have appointment of our recording secretary for the calendar year. That has primarily been Liz Goodwin. I'm going to ask at this particular time if there is a motion to appoint a recording secretary for the calendar year of 2024.
So move.
Is that for Liz Goodwin?
Yes.
Is there a second or support?
A second.
The motion has been made by trustee Gavin and supported by trustee Rocket Martin. If there's no questions, comments, or concerns, Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote?
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
trustee Doyle,
Yes.
trustee Gavin,
Yes.
President Robinson,
Yes.
trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett. What is this position we're voting?
Recording secretary, Liz as the recording secretary.
Oh, yes.
All righty, so our recording secretary for the 2024 calendar year is Liz Goodwin. Next, we have membership in and the legislative delegate to the 2024 Michigan Association of School Boards. So normally on our organizational meeting, we just select delegates. Because there has been some conversation in the year about MASB whether the information how helpful the information is that they give us and things of that nature. I wanted to give the board an opportunity to ensure that we wanted to continue our membership with the Michigan Association of School Boards. So this is a vote on the membership to Michigan Association of School Boards. The cost for July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024 was $4,090.44. New rates are not yet available. But I just wanted to ensure that we still wanted to be a part of that association. And then in doing so, select nominations for the representatives.
Madam President, I have a
You have the
question.
floor.
What are our other options?
I know that there is an urban, there's an urban association for educators as well, but I'm not as familiar with it. I can research it. It's something that we can choose to do an alternative membership in or another joint membership. I just can't think of the exact name.
Is this possible to table this until we get more information about?
We sure
Other
can. Is there a
option.
motion to table?
I make a motion that we table the vote for membership in the MASB at this time.
I second.
Okay, the motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Trustee Doyle. Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote? You actually can't have conversation in the midst of tabling, but I'll take the question if it's needed for clarification.
Okay, yeah. I was just wondering, so the class that we have to take tomorrow, will this impact?
Yeah, you're already covered through June 30th. So this is determining whether or not we want to renew our membership in July. So we have time. We don't have to rush this vote.
I guess I missed out on comments.
Well, because the motion to table came out so quickly. So what I can do is I can place this as an item for discussion on our agenda for Tuesday.
I can do it in my closing comments.
Okay, but we'll have it there. We'll have it in the agenda. And if there's more information, like, because Tuesday is such a quick turnaround, if we have not looked at alternative options just yet, it may even be something that we put on the February agenda. As stated, we're secure through June 30th. So this is just us exploring our options as we step into July. Okay. Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote for tabling of C? Correct.
Okay. President Robinson,
Yes?
Vice President Bowen,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton.
Yeah.
This list, I'm so used to the list being the president of stuff, and they switched it up. Second, did I call me? Yes. Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
Trustee Doyle,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Mark. So who moved and second?
The motion was made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Trustee Doyle. Okay, so next item of business is D. This is our representation to the 2024 Berrien Cass School Boards Association and Berrien Regional Education Service Agency. So of course, everyone's familiar with Berrien RESA. This person is the individual that attends their meetings, also places votes on our behalf. We always take a vote to inform them of how to vote, but they actually go there and vote on our behalf. As it relates to Berrien Cass School Boards, that is a collective unity of school districts that are in the Berrien and Cass counties. They meet jointly and provide the same kind of fellowship and support, more of an in-depth fellowship and support for school boards. So our most recent representative was Trustee Rocket Martin, and our alternate was Secretary Triplett. I'm not sure if those individuals are still interested in representing us, but at this particular time, I'll ask for a representative and alternate, if you could make the nominations jointly. And then we can try to get through that vote quickly.
I'd like to.
Treasurer Creighton?
Oh,
Oh,
he beat
Secretary
me.
Triplett? Treasurer Creighton?
I would like to nominate Ms. Gavin and Ms. Rocket Martin.
Okay, and who is the representative and who's the alternate?
I'm not sure which one would be interested in either.
Okay,
Oh.
so I can go, okay, and Trustee Gavin, do you accept being the alternate?
I accept.
Okay, so right now we have the nominations of Rocket Martin as the representative and the alternate as Gavin. Any other nominations for the 2024 Berrien Cass School Boards Association and Berrien Regional Education Service Agency?
I thought I did a great job as the alternate of the retrospective. No, I'm very, very supportive of both of these individuals represented in that manner.
All right, if there's no objections and no other nominations, Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote for?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowen,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Doyle,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
motion.
All right, awesome. So congratulations to Trustee Rocket Martin and Trustee Gavin. They are our new representatives, as noted, for the 2024 Berrien Cass School Board Association and Berrien Regional Education Service Agency. Liz, if you could please do us the honor of emailing that information to Berrien Risa and to Berrien Cass School Board, so we can ensure that Gavin gets added to communication and Triplet is taken out. And I'm not sure that you were getting the emails. Were they emailing you?
No,
Okay.
but they need to add her.
Yeah, add Gavin. Okay, next is the approval of bylaws, dates, times, and places of meetings. So there are no additional major bylaw changes at this time. They are consistent with what our last updates have been made per our last meetings. However, the dates, times, and places of meetings for the Board of Education, the motion as it stands, I stayed with the status quo. However, this is an opportunity for us to have this conversation. So you'll notice that your regular meetings are noted as 5:30, same location, Benton Harbor High School. The meeting dates, as a reminder, we voted last year to have our official business meeting on the 16th of this month. That is next Tuesday. And then moving forward, the meetings are noted as the second Tuesday of each month. So I'm not sure. I know that there was conversation previously about whether we wanted to have a work session or things of that nature. So right now is the time to have that conversation, unless there is a motion to approve the schedule as is.
Comment.
You have the floor.
Okay, last year, as the board changed and we got new members and what have you, we had several meetings, call meetings, emergency meetings, and all types of meetings. And I have been an advocate for the work session, meeting as a whole. When you hear other boards, across the state and in particular in MASB, I think that's very, very critical. I think it gives us an opportunity to have discussions. And I think it'll strengthen us in handling our business, because like I said, just these emergency meetings. And I think that right now we're solid enough. Our new board members have had a year here on the board. It's not just an easy thing to do when you first come on. But I think that and also I think it holds us accountable. And it supports the superintendent to be able to make the necessary adjustments in between those needed times. Because a lot of times we spend a lot of time here because we don't know this, and this could have been discussed prior to, if it was on the agenda and we had an actual, meeting as a whole, work session, whatever they call, because there's too many times we need to sharpen that up and tighten up in that area. So I am asking for the support for us to put that work session back in there. Also, it gives us an opportunity to hear from people in the community, seriously, that are genuinely interested, instead of when there's a hot topic and group of people come in and we're at the table and have to make a decision. Because one of the most disappointing things for me prior to being on the board was people just sitting there like the people who voted for you does not matter, because now you are on the Board of Education. That is a monthly way to include people in this, to hear our constituents and their concerns before we actually make a vote. People come up, make their comments, And then we go and vote, and it's like you just said, forget them, but it gives us some pausing time for us to be able to make the correct decisions and collectively as a board. So I think that it is necessary because it's necessary. It's necessary for our central administration team as well, because it also gives them, our central administration team is rather new. And so it gives them some time before we make these decisions or have these comments and what have you to do whatever is necessary to get it done.
Thank you, Secretary Triplett. Any additional comments regarding our meeting dates, or we have not technically taken a vote, so I want to see if Secretary Triplett has support for work sessions. Trustee Doyle?
I would just like to ask if we could make the meeting at 6 instead of 5:30.
I have no objection to that. So that's something for the board to consider. Treasurer Creighton, you look like you may have had a comment, or were you just looking down?
Oh, yeah, I was trying to frame my comment. Yeah, I definitely support I'm definitely open to both suggestions. One thing that I would just like to add, if we go to or if there's enough support on the board and interest, I would like to look at actually creating a meeting to actually train the board, train our admin on actually how to conduct a board meeting. I think it'll be very interesting. A lot of times, I know within some of the other groups and boards that I sit on, and also my sorority, we have a really good model that works, and we're not there for hours, and we cover way more business. And so I think if we come up with a structure and we actually train everyone involved and we're on one page with the expectations of what is discussed in committee, what is discussed after the recommendation is made by that committee, and then that whole thing, I think we could have our hour and a half work sessions, hour and a half board meetings. Right now, I think we come in here and we rely on the moment to take care of business without transparency, and so that everyone is just kind of swimming and surviving. So if there is some support, I definitely would like for and I guess what would you call it? With the agreement that, you know, we're gonna come up with a structure that'll work for us. Because what I'm not interested in is what we did a few months ago.
In October?
We had a really long organizational, work session and then a really long board meeting. And so I think with respect to what Mr. Triplett's concern or even suggestion is, like, no professional, no parent, no one should be here to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. So if we could after work come in here to conduct the business meeting and then come back and vote on those things, I think it could be effective.
Okay, so my only input, I have no objections either way. My only concern is similar to what Treasurer Creighton said. I don't have the mental capacity nor strength, and I don't think you all do, to have 2-3 hour meetings back to back. So we would definitely have to get extremely comfortable with that model. Get the bulk of the business done and be prepared to come back and vote. Like, conversation should be taking place in the first meeting, the second meeting should be no longer than an hour. It's simply for the purpose of collecting votes and making closing comments. So at this particular time, Trustee Gavin.
I'm in agreement with you both. That is my main concern about adding any other meetings, is with the caveat that there is a structure in place and a formal reporting process in place, so that when staff comes to those meetings, they are bringing the information that we need in order to make the decisions that we need to make. And, you know, I don't know if it's possible to have a time limit, you know, on meetings. When we say we end on time,
Yeah.
we don't have a time to end. You know, I know you
Okay.
can't control public comments,
Right.
but I think that, you know, if we have time frame for certain sections, and we have an agreed upon reporting structured reporting documents, templates that we use in our committees. I think that can make those meetings a lot more productive. And I'm definitely in agreement with the 6 o'clock pushback to give board members an opportunity to give you.
Okay, so this is where I am, and I want you all to let me know what you think. I think what I hear, you weren't
I
done?
wanted
Go
to
ahead.
add one thing.
Okay.
Treasurer Creighton said like a training. I was thinking it would be great to do that during the retreat if possible.
Okay, so this would be, and I want to know what you all think of this. Because there's some, as mentioned earlier, there's some behind the scenes labor that I was planning to do as it relates to committee structure and how committees work. And I think that those changes are gonna directly impact what a potential committee of the whole looks like. So how do you guys feel about, we already have our schedule for January. We keep our schedule as it is, and then we come back in February, once we've been able to fully develop our committee structures and things like that, and determine whether or not it's a model that we feel comfortable enough to implement work sessions in the month of March. Secretary Triplett.
I think all this pausing, we did that before. Benton Harbor Area School Board of Education always operated in that manner. Just like Benton Harbor Area School Board of Education always had the Board of Education at the table as it related to expulsions and everything. Yes, absolutely, we don't need to be trained. We don't need to play games about it. We need to do our work. We are coming to this table illy prepared. And let's just be honest. And so the work session, the committee as a whole, whatever it is with your committee, people make a commitment to this work. But as committees and what have you, the committee have a meeting, and only people really know about what really went on in those meetings is the committee.
Okay,
We
so,
might get it, now, we're in an organizational meeting. And I know we're gonna move on, but there's some things that we need to really talk out, because I'm not playing any game. And I just wanted to be perfectly clear with everybody. Seriously, because I don't have time to waste like this. And I was elected to be on this Board of Education. This is a very serious matter. So, I mean, we don't need to wait March, April, June, July. We ain't got no committee, the committee structured, what we're doing. It needs to be right here at this table, so everybody know what's going on. We have a clear cut information, because we had at least 15 emergency meetings.
are you making a motion to amend this? That's all I was attempting to ask you.
Okay.
We can
Not
go
amend
for,
mine.
we can amend it as you're recommending amending it and then seeing if the vote goes through. So are you opposed to the 6 PM start time?
I would like to and I agree with the 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Work time.
And you
some
would
people
like-
work,
Okay,
but
you would
not
like,
just myself.
and you would like to alter this to have a work session? Are you suggesting that be the first Tuesday of the month?
First Tuesday of the month, the work
I have a
session,
question real quick.
yeah.
So we can do it later start time. Can we do it end time?
I'm perfectly
6 to
fine with
8?
all of that.
6 to 8?
We can try for 6 to 8.
Okay.
Okay. And I apologize to the public. There's no one here, but I know that this conversation is a little bit more informal than normal. So I'm temporarily suspending my chair rules because there's some dialogue that needs to take place. And so I may allow some conversation without formally calling people, but I want us to work through this. So where we are right now is a 6 o'clock start time with the 8 PM expectation of an ending time. We have also had a recommendation from Secretary Triplett that we change our schedule to include a work session on the first Tuesday of each month. And that would begin effective February, because we've already missed that opportunity for this month.
Yep.
Okay, so I have a couple hands. I'm gonna go to Trustee Gavin, Trustee Barnes, and then Trustee Creighton, and my apologies for not mentioning your titles. Trustee Gavin?
So we're only having 1 week in between those meetings, so they're back to back.
I thought it was second and fourth.
That's what seems a little,
It was
Okay.
the fourth, it was the fourth, it was normally the fourth week of the month. And then the business meeting was, the actual meeting of vote was the second Tuesday. of the month. So they would have the
Oh.
committee.
Oh, you would do, okay, so
Yeah,
fourth
the
meeting,
fourth-
okay,
The fourth
Tuesday of the month
of the
before.
month would be the meeting, the work session. That's what they do. We call it the work session. And then the second Tuesday is the actual board meeting, the official board work session, which in the work session, you do no voting. There are no votes ever. It's a discussion, committee chairs are reporting, our chiefs and our superintendent are able to report, and discuss what's going on. When we get through the audience, our constituents and citizens, that's an opportunity for them to speak and express their concerns about matters, not just like the flag thing. And then when we get through, the superintendent and the president, board president, bring the things that are going to be coming to the table to vote that following week. It's very simple for us to really do it. And that's the way it should be done. And I think that it was switched because we had a superintendent that was traveling from Detroit. And all of those different things, just like the thing with the, and we in working with our superintendent. Our superintendent lives here and is buying a home here. That's not an issue.
Okay, next we have trustee Bowens.
With us starting the time at 6, and I just want us to make sure we're not messing with anyone's contract obligations. And does that mean that our staff would have to leave here and come back? You get, or I don't know, is that,
That's the superintendent's job to figure that part out.
I just want to make sure we're not,
So their contract should have it noted if they're in a chief position that they have an expectation to be at the board meeting. It would not notate what time or, because we set that every year. Treasurer Creighton was next.
Yeah, I don't know if this fits here, but I was wondering, is there any way we could restructure our agenda so our chiefs could do their reports first, so they don't have to hang around so long, if the meeting should have to run so long?
Well, we can look at all of that. The agenda is something that is flexible and fluid. So if you have a suggestion about the agenda, just send that forward. And we can look at the structure. One of the things that I considered was not even having committee reports right at the top, but having them with the chiefs. And then the chair adds anything that they think may have been mixed, because what we've been doing is a duplication of efforts. So there's a lot that I've been thinking about as it relates to the committees and the chairs and the agendas, and making it make sense so we're not prolonging our time much longer than we need to. And I think it takes us like an hour to get through committee reports. And so we can try to restructure to make that work a little bit more collectively with our chiefs as well. But we can do all of that. So where we are now, Secretary Triplett, what I heard you suggest.
You skipped me.
Oh, go ahead. I didn't know if you were giving her your turn.
No, I was making a motion.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you so very much.
Well, I got one more thing.
You still have, I would like to make you a motion before the vote. Go ahead, you have the floor.
I would like to make a motion that we take Secretary Triplett's suggestion to have an additional meeting the fourth Tuesday of every month, and continue with our board meeting on the second Tuesday of the month. I would like to take another suggestion of doing it at 6 p.m., ending at 8 p.m. And I need some help.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So both meetings are 6 to 8 on the fourth and second Tuesday. I'm sorry, the second and fourth Tuesday of every month, starting this month. Are we doing it? Okay, starting this month.
Yes, we would have the work session for February on the fourth Tuesday of this month. So I just want to make sure the board is aware that you would therefore have your organizational meeting today. You're going to have your standard business meeting January 16th, and then you're going to have to come back within I think another 2 weeks to have your work session for February. Is there a second or support to that motion?
I second.
The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Trustee Doyle. Secretary Triplett, was there a comment that was very pressing to make at this time?
I don't know if it was very pressing, but there is a comment.
Okay, you have the floor and then we're gonna go to trustee. I know,
Yeah.
I'm trying.
No, no.
It's 6:31.
Yeah, I'm very serious about
We
this.
actually started at 5:37, so we have time. Go ahead.
I'm very serious about this and, you know, we have contracts. We have, when people are hired, we have expectations. I just don't understand how this even became a topic about whose roles and responsibilities are of our central administrator. And so to me, like I said, I don't know where it came from. That's a part of their responsibility. That's all. We don't have anybody making less than $100,000. And so for anybody to open their mouths and say that they are not willing to come before this Board of Education, it's offensive. And so I want that on the record. They do not work from 9 to 5. They work at the will of the superintendent. They work within the boundaries of their job description. And they work for the Board of Education and citizens of the community of Benton Harbor.
Thank
I
you.
put that on the record.
Thank you, Secretary Triplett.
Did you hear that?
Okay. We had trustee Rocket Martin next, and then we'll go to trustee Gavin.
Yes, I am willing to support this, but we have to, because we've done trial runs of this and it has not gone well. But I am willing to try it again to make sure we come in here to handle board business and not back-to-back consultations and those kinds of things. So we can do from board to whatever. I understand what Ms. Gavin is saying too, that you know, we really can't really put a time limit on it because everybody has a right. And we are representing the board business. I also want to just keep in mind, these are the days of the games, right? And the other activities that go on in the school district. But I know we have to conduct board business, no doubt.
Correct.
But let's conduct board business. Let's get in our committees, do what we're supposed to do, take your minutes, do whatever. And so bring your information back to us so that we don't have to rehash the same thing over and over and over.
Thank you, trustee
Thank
Rocket
you.
Martin. Trustee Gavin.
Thank you. I had a second question back then. It was just, I guess just, I'm definitely in favor of like that 6 to 8. But I also know that we have a legal obligation to allow the public to speak
Correct.
if that goes over. And so I
Correct.
want to make sure that we have, you know, we're leaving that space for them. And then also I won't be here on the 4th Tuesday of January, because I just didn't know we were going to do this.
Understood.
But I'm in favor of this. The other thing that I would just say is that I don't know. I like the idea of moving that agenda. I like your idea of rearranging the agenda so that we're working side by side with the staff and we're not being redundant. And I do want to be mindful of their time and their capacity as well.
Okay, and just to respond back to trustee Gavin, you are correct. So we are able to have a start and an end time. However, our end time cannot conflict with public comment. So for example, if we get to 8 o'clock and there's 5 other people that want to speak or 20 or 30 other people that want to speak, we have to stay here until the end of that public comment. So trustee Gavin is ensuring that we know that public comment is the one thing that we do not have the ability to do a hard stop on. Trustee Rocket Martin, I'll take one last comment and then we're gonna vote.
Madam President, what time would our, what's the date for our first work session?
It's gonna be the 4th Thursday of this month. I'm sorry, yes, 4th Tuesday of this month. And that is, no, that's the 23rd.
Madam President,
Yes.
so I have another question, just for clarity. Because we still do have to do committees in order to be ready for next month. So I was trying to support my fellow colleagues.
Start for February.
However, it might be more reasonable to actually do it on the 30th, which will be the 5th Tuesday.
For January only?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah,
So you want to amend your motion to make the work session for January 30th of the
Mhm.
month? Okay,
because it'll give because we still have to fit in committee meetings and then we'll have that board meeting and then hopefully that second, that fourth week will be our committees unless you change it. But I think it's a lot to cram in the
Yeah.
next 2 weeks. So if, it's the will of the board, we can actually do it the January 30th.
okay. And who made the support to that motion?
Doyle.
Okay, Doyle, do you support that adjustment to the 30th for January? Okay, so at this particular time, I'm gonna close conversation. The motion is on the floor. It has been amended. It is for a 6 o'clock start time for meetings ending at 8 p.m. with the understanding that we cannot limit public comment. Meeting place will remain Benton Harbor High School. For the month of January, our regular business meeting will be January 16th. Our first official work session, which is technically for the month of February, will be January 30th of 2024. Moving forward for the month of February ongoing, our work sections will be the fourth Tuesday of each month, and our regular business meetings will be the second Tuesday of each month. Each will be from 6 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. with the understanding that if it goes over due to public comment, we're unable to cut that off. Secretary Triplett, at this time, I'd ask, what I'm going to say is that before we vote, because I haven't really commented, I have been completely against it because our meetings are long-winded. However, I'm going to be a team player and do what is best for the community and for the work of the board. And I am hoping that we can get our checks and balances in order to ensure that this is a smooth transition as we do this. So because it is extremely meaningful to so many members on the board, I am going to support this at this particular time. And I just wanted to make that statement. So Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowen,
I'm sorry. No.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
Trustee Doyle,
Yes.
motion carried.
All right, awesome. So I'm gonna read through it one more time just to make sure everyone's clear. Our meetings are now starting at 6 o'clock p.m. with an expectation to be done by 8 p.m. with an understanding that public comment cannot be cut off. Our meeting place will be the Benton Harbor High School Library unless mandated by any branch of government to be held electronically. For the month of January, our first meeting, our official business meeting will be January 16th. Our first work session for the month of January will be January 30th. And then for the month of February, we will have our regular business meeting the 13th. And moving forward, we will have work sessions the fourth Tuesday of every month and regular business meetings the second Tuesday of every month from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Made the motion, Mr. Treasurer Creighton.
Treasurer Creighton made the motion and was supported by Doyle. All right, so we have handled approval of bylaws, dates, times, place, and meetings. We took the vote for the date, place, times, and meetings, but that was approval of the bylaws as well for section E. We didn't have any changes for bylaws. That was essentially us approving them forward, but we will be taking a look at the description of our officers and our committee structures. Next is F, resolution designating depositories and authorized agents for various funds and authority to make investments. That's addendum A. And so it notes all of the banks that we have for our accounts and our funds. So at this particular time, it's so long, Jesus, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna read through it. Bank Depository and Agents Resolution, A, that the Benton Harbor School Business Office account for A, the Business Office, B, the Elizabeth Griffin Herman Trust Fund, C, the Frederick Sims Scholarship Fund, D, the Joseph Opowski Memorial Fund, and E, the Les Strategic Athletic,
Right.
say it for me. Right Athletic Scholarship Fund. And two, that the business office account be continued in operation at Horizon Bank, and further that the superintendent and the board approved chief financial officer be authorized to individually sign checks on the account. And 3, that the food service fund continue at Horizon Bank, and that the superintendent and the board approve the chief financial officer be authorized to individually sign checks on the account. B, be it resolved that Horizon Bank be and is hereby designated as a depository of this district general fund and the invoice account and all other accounts listed below, and that funds so deposited may be withdrawn upon a check, draft, or wire transfer. Be it resolved that funds so deposited may be withdrawn upon a note or order of the district. Be it further resolved that all checks, drafts, notes, or orders drawn against the said accounts be signed by their respective authorized signers as indicated below, and that no checks, drafts, notes, or orders drawn against the said bank shall be valid unless so signed. And so then we have the list of our funds, our depositories, and our authorized signers. Following page, be it further resolved that Horizon Bank is hereby authorized and directed to honor and pay any checks, drafts, notes, or orders so drawn, whether such checks, drafts, notes, or orders be payable to the order of any such person signing said checks, drafts, notes, or orders, or any such persons acting in their individual capacities or not, whether such checks, drafts, notes, or orders are deposited to the individual credit of any of the officers or not. This resolution to continue in full force until notice to the contrary in writing is duly served on the said bank. 2, resolution pertaining to the designation of depositories and authorized agents for the payroll and invoice fund for the school district. Okay, be it resolved that Huntington Bank being hereby designated as a depository of this district's general fund and payroll fund, and that the funds so deposited may be withdrawn upon a check, note, or order of the district. Be it further resolved that all checks, drafts, notes, or orders drawn against said account be signed by the following persons, which is Kelvin Butts and our CFO. And then no checks, drafts, notes, or orders drawn against said bank shall be valid unless so signed. Be it further resolved that all checks, drafts, notes, or orders drawn against said accounts be signed by. We have our funds depository and authorized signers, which are Dr. Butts and Molly Vincent. Okay, be it further resolved, Huntington Bank is hereby authorized as noted. I'm not gonna read it fully. And then the third resolution is to invest idle funds. Whereas Act 451 in the Public Acts of 1976 as amended provides that if authorized by resolution of the Board of School District, the treasurer may invest debt, retirement funds, building and site sinking funds, and general funds of the district. And so it lists the ways A through H that they're able to invest. Whereas it is the intent of Benton Harbor area schools to maximize its returns on balances from time to time available in various funds. Whereas it has been the best practice of the Benton Harbor Area School District to have its board-approved chief financial officer as the designated agent of the treasurer, make an immediate investment of available balances. Now therefore be it resolved that the superintendent, the board-approved chief financial officer, designated agents of the treasurer be authorized and are hereby directed to invest the balances from time to time available in the various funds of the district in accordance with Act 451 of the Public Act of 1976 as amended, and be it further resolved that they may deposit available balances in savings accounts or saving deposits. Be it further resolved that all such investments hereto made are hereby ratified and validated. So I did not read it in fully, but I just wanted to ensure that the public was aware of what it is that we were taking a vote on. So at this particular time, I'm going to ask if there's a motion to approve the resolution designating depositories and authorized agents for various funds and authority to make investments.
Madam President,
You have the floor.
I actually have a clarifying question. So there's Horizon Bank and Huntington Bank, correct?
Dr. Butts?
Okay, and then one other thing, from my professional experience, it's most appropriate to have 2 signers. So I would like to replace the word or with and.
Okay.
I think the superintendent and CFO needs to, both have dual authorization, but one can't do it without the other.
Okay, and which questions should those notations be made?
Where it says,
Signer.
the signers. One other clarifying question, I don't know if this is appropriate, but, I know that, trustee Gavin asked a question in email. I know it was late in the day, but, I would also like to, on the record, say that we would like a balance of these accounts by next week's meeting. I've never heard of, them in our financial reports. I can't say that we've not talked about them in organizational meetings, but it has been definitely an oversight on our behalf because they're not included in financial reports. And so, I would like to definitely get some transparency on the balances in these accounts and the purposes of the accounts by either our finance meeting coming up or no later than our board meeting next week. So at this time, I would like to make a motion that we approve the 3 resolutions with the noted corrections.
Is there a second or support?
For
The motion has been made by Treasurer Creighton and supported by Secretary Triplett. Just for notation, I did try to see if we could get that information by this evening, but our CFO was actually not in office today. So I did let Trustee Gavin know that I'll ensure that we do get that, and we'll get that forwarded to the entire board. So at this particular time, Secretary Triplett, you sure may.
Correct.
All right, Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote?
President Robinson,
Yes?
Vice President Bowen,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes, Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
Trustee Doyle.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, next on the agenda we have, and we're doing, we're still doing good, a little bit over. Our time is 6:48. We are at, just keep trying to keep everybody on track. But I think the conversation about the time and the meeting place and things of that nature, that was very much needed. We were able to work through that, and so I think the extra 10 minutes that we've used were well used. So now we are at approval of law firms. The suggested law firms are Clark Hill PLC, Troon Law Firm PC, and then Seacrest, Wardle, Lynch, Hampton, Truex, and Morley, which if you all remember, they are the firm that was handling a case that many school districts, including Benton Harbor area schools, are members of. So that we are a part of that claim, and so that's why we remain in that with them. But then Clark Hill is specific to HR, and then Troon is the district's overall attorney. So at this time, is there a motion to approve? Secretary Triplett?
Madam President, when it, last year, we got to the area about the law firms and CPA. About public accountants and what have you, there was a lot of unanswered questions. And I was wondering, I would like to put a motion on the floor, because there's a lot of law firms, and I think everybody needs to have an understanding of what it is that we're doing, who these people are, how much, because I keep hearing a lot about, we contact this lawyer, we contact that lawyer, how much has actually been spent. So I would like to make a motion, if I may, to move this to our next meeting,
Is
So
this a
that-
motion to table it?
to table it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
The
there,
law firm and the CPA,
oh, both of them?
yeah,
The auditors, H?
with the auditors as well.
So you're making a motion to table items G and H to our business meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, so Treasurer Creighton, was that your support?
So I do have a question about, so when you say the auditors, are you saying to look for new auditors or look for new attorneys?
I would just, well, it's not.
Okay,
about
we
looking-
separate the motion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because it's not about looking for anybody, but I think we need some more.
More information.
Okay.
Okay,
We haven't even had the time to discuss what, the young lady came from, as far as the CPA was concerned. She came, presented. We haven't even had an opportunity to get some feedback. We haven't had an opportunity to really sit down with our superintendent to say, well, what's your thoughts, with you as a,
I support it. I
Yeah.
just wanted to
You know
know
what
what
I
you
mean?
were
So I'm
saying.
just saying we can do
clarification,
them.
okay.
We're both, and then with the law firm, we need to have some more discussion. I have some clarifying questions and my thoughts I would like to share with the board and with the public after I get the necessary
Information.
information.
Okay, so at this particular time, if I'm understanding, Secretary Triplett has made a motion to table items G and H regarding the approval of law firms and the appointment of our auditors for the 2023-2024 fiscal year. And Treasurer Creighton has supported it. Secretary Triplett, can you please call the vote?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowen,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Treasurer Creighton,
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin,
Yes.
and Trustee Doyle.
Yes.
Motion carried.
So
All right.
clarifying question, if
Yes.
possible. So when does our contract end with our noted, June 30th? Oh, okay, so we have time. Thank you.
Yeah. And just as a reminder, I think we did this for both. We delayed our vote on I know for certain our auditors, and I think our attorneys as well. So we do have some time to make adjustments. So I'm gonna go over the outcome of our organizational meeting really quickly. Election of officers, we have President Deshauna Robinson, Vice President Trenton Bowens, Treasurer Angel Creighton, Secretary Ronaldo Triplett. For the position of Recording Secretary, we have Liz Goodwin. We tabled our vote for the Michigan Association of School Boards. For item D, our representative for the BHAS School Boards Association in Berry Risa is Raquette Martin with alternate as Gavin. For approval of our bylaws, that was passed. We are moving forward, having meetings on the fourth Tuesday and second Tuesday of the month from 6 to 8 p.m. with January being a slight adjustment noted for the work session on the 30th. For F, we approved our depositories and authorized signers with an adjustment made that both signers are required. And then items G and H have been tabled specifically with the request to add those to the business agenda for our upcoming meeting next Tuesday. So congratulations, Board of Education, you have made it through the organizational meeting portion. At this particular time, I'll ask if there is open public comment. Hearing none, now we are at superintendent announcements and comments. Dr. Buds, you've been extremely quiet today, but now we get to hear from you.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to say I'm happy the way you guys handled the board meeting tonight. Looking forward to working another productive year with you guys. Any and all new comments that I have will be forthcoming in the upcoming board meeting.
Thank you. We're going to begin today with Trustee Doyle, board member announcements and comments. Oh, she stepped out. I never noticed. She speak out so smooth. Okay, we'll go with Trustee Gavin. I never see her go.
I want to wish everybody a happy new year. Thank everybody who attended on the Zoom or on Facebook Live. Just looking forward to a very.
And that's not specific to Gavin.
So start over.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm looking forward to a very productive year. And I believe that the best is yet to come for our Benton Harbor Area School Tigers. That's pretty much all that I have to say. I'm just looking forward to a year of taking our district to another level and just really attracting that which we desire for our children and for our community. And that's where my focus is for this year.
Thank you. Next, we're going
And
to
I
go.
apologize that I do have to run because there is a city council meeting today. And I
Okay.
expect us to be meeting on a Monday, so
Okay, understood.
thank you.
Okay, so we have, oh, and this is their first meeting. Okay, understood. All right, so best of luck to the city officials. I know we have newly appointed individuals as well. So we're going to move right along to Trustee Doyle. Did you have any closing comments?
I did. I just want to say, this first year was very, very, very hard for me on this board. And I feel like we could have got a lot more done to help our children. And I'm grateful to be on this side, and I'm thankful for everybody that voted for me. And it's really important that their voices be heard. And I do my job sitting here to help create an amazing learning environment and experience for our children.
Thank you, Trustee Doyle. Next, we have Trustee Raquel Martin.
I look forward, Happy New Year to everyone. And I look forward to continuing the work that we have been doing for Benton Harbor Area Schools, the good work that we have been doing. I look forward to us even bringing our district up to even a greater level, a higher level. And I know that the people that are on this board are committed to doing that. And so with the community in mind, and especially with our students in mind, I look forward to serving you this coming school year.
Thank you, Trustee Raquel Martin. Next, we have Treasurer Creighton.
Thank you. Happy New Year to everyone. Really, really excited about all that God is doing for us. Really looking forward to a great year this year. I think, every year is an opportunity to get better. And so, as we learn and grow, just working for one common goal. I watched an interview over the last week, and one quote that stuck out to me was, all division divides. And so I'm looking to add and to multiply, not really in favor of dividing, definitely willing to drop negative energy and subtract, but really hoping that we can focus more on what we can do to work together to multiply the best outcomes for Ben Harbor area schools. Over the last month, I attended, I think every activity that I was invited to, I attended, and so really excited about the invitations. So I encourage the staff and the students to continue to invite us. A lot of times I think people assume that we know everything, but fortunately and unfortunately, we don't. And so, in order to create those positive narratives and positive opportunities, really, really enjoy going and meeting and mingling with students and staff to really see what it is that they're doing. There are great full circle moments for me. And so this year, let's focus on organization, transparency, and follow through. Promises made and promises kept. And so I'm really excited about what we have in store for us this year.
Thank you, Treasurer Creighton. Next, we have Secretary Triplett.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, I'd like to wish everyone a happy New Year. I'm just gonna say, to put this out on the table, there's an ethical imperative that must take place. Oftentimes, it's assumed that things are personal. And there's, it's been kind of tough to a certain degree. Because for me, when you have high expectations, it's very difficult. And so our kids deserve the very, very best. And that means, when it comes to the Board of Education, people that don't have time to do it, you need to reconsider the work. I understand that. I think that we put the timeline from 6 to 8. I think we waste a lot of time with personal foolishness. And it has been so disheartening, and professionally offensive to me this year, what I have witnessed here at this table. And so I didn't go to school for nothing. I am not a Christian for nothing. And whether you say it loud or whether you say it soft, you said it. And so I think everybody need to really do some self-checking, because I will not be distracted. And no one makes me pick sides. No one tells me who to support and what to support. I'm looking straight ahead. I want to encourage the superintendent and to let you know publicly that I still support you in your endeavors. And it won't be personal. I've been a supporter from the beginning. But there are some things that I think that we need to do for our school district. And there's a lot of things that we need to do to support you as well. To our president, Madam President, I support you, and I feel confident in supporting you. Our conversations have been, we will have further conversations. You will answer the telephone in 2024, or you will be blasted at the work session. Thank you for your support. Oh, you answer the phone.
Vice President Owens.
Well, Mr. Triplett, all due respect, I have to drive by the house and honk and tell her to answer her phone. Our beloved sister Taylor Swift sings the best lyrics.
Who's that?
Taylor Swift Taylor Swift says, haters gonna hate, hate, hate. Baby, I'm just gonna shake, 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 shake it off. And we have to remain optimistic. You know, we didn't get on this board to destroy the district or have ill intentions. You could have 1 million hands pointing at the next person, and what you consider that person doing, you're actually doing. You know, the Bible teaches us only a dog will go back to its vomit. I didn't say that, the Bible said it. And if we continue to go back and forth, we miss the picture. So in 2024, as the Board of Education member and as the Vice President, I'm not going to go back and forth to the fights on social media or any of that. I'm going to speak my truth. I'm going to vote my conscience. And I hope to be a better Vice President this year. And I'm excited on bringing results back. You know, let's restoring the order in our school district. Let's make sure we get certified teachers here. Let's make sure our kids are in a 21st century building. And let's look at some of the stuff we've been kicking down the road and face hard decisions. So I'm optimistic. I would caution the board though, understand what democracy is. Because what we've seen with Donald Trump when he ran for president in 2016, well, 2022 or 20, whatever many years it was. We have to be cautious because we can carry that same attitude and atmosphere. Respect everyone's decision and move on. It was hard for me to do that when I was a city commissioner, but I learned it. Respect what we agree to disagree and move on. Let's not demonize each other. If we're really here for the kids, we have to show a shining example of what we do. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Vice President Bowens. And so I'm going to make my comment as brief as I possibly can. As it relates to myself as president of the Board of Education, it's an honor. It has been an honor. I know that there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I know there are times where slips are showing and some tightening up needs to occur. And so I am aware of that on all ends of the board table. And so I will be challenging myself to make sure that I am giving my very best, but also challenging each of you to be giving your very best and also holding each other accountable in ways that are positive and doesn't come off offensively. And I think if we all accept and realize that each person on this board table is working for the best benefit of Benton Harbor area schools, if we truly are able to believe that, then we'll be able to have conversations of, you know, understanding and giving each other grace, but also holding each other accountable. And so I'm looking forward to us strengthening our relationship as it relates to my votes on CTE director, the boilers, and Black Wall Street Zone, which was never a vote that took place. I do not regret any way in which I chose to vote. I have been placed on this Board of Education by the citizens of Benton Harbor and our surrounding municipalities. And so I will continue to vote with my consciousness, regardless of how anyone at this particular board table feels about it, whether it's someone that normally votes with me or against me. I'm going to vote with my heart, and I will not apologize for that. As it relates to the partnership agreement did not require a vote. And so I could have, as Board of Education President, forced the board to take a vote. But what happens if the board votes no on something I'm required to sign by the state? And so I want to make sure that people are in their positions of making points of clarification and concern, are really considering all of the factors, because sometimes there are things that you think need to take place that may actually put us in a greater damage or harm than needed. And so sometimes those are weights that I have to carry on my back. Was I excited about being the only signature on that partnership agreement? No, I wasn't. But if anything happens that goes left with that partnership agreement, the only person that is accountable for that is Deshauna Robinson per the signature. But each of you were able to contribute to that plan. And then last but not least, I just want to say I appreciate you all this season of leadership. My season of leadership with you all has been amazing, but I just wanted to make sure and note for the record that this will be my last year serving as the president of this Board of Education. I am putting that on the table. And so my primary job over the next year is succession and ensuring that anyone who is interested in serving in the position of president for the upcoming year is trained and qualified and ready to go. So if that is something that you think you have in you, or if you're considering doing that, please reach out to me so I can be ensuring that you are properly trained and able to be nominated by your Board of Education next year. So it has been an honor to serve as your Madam President. I will do so graciously as much as I can this year. And with that being said, Secretary Triplett, I'm going to ask if there's a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second or support? The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by Trustee Rocket Martin. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Yes. We
Let
cannot,
the record show.
yeah, let the record show, we can't keep on moving the bar back as it relates to time and people being able to speak, to go over the bells and whistles and. all
I
the
rarely
different
talk.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. The rules are the rules. You are not lame duck, and we don't want you to get in a lame duck mindset. Or
Thank you.
will be impeached. We have a lot of work to do. I made the nomination. I'm tired of putting nominations on the floor and people talking about what they, anyhow. But again, you've done a great job, Madam
Thank
President. And I have to say this to our treasurer. And I mean, in all sincerity. Your work has been very impressive to me. Your commitment and you know, you have I know you have the time, but it's not, but that's your time that you give up. And so I appreciate, really honestly, you know, a lot of times we don't let people know what it is, and and we have not always agreed. As President Robinson and I were talking, just coming in, we go hard with one another, but I believe that all of us have a love for this community and for this district. We got a great leadership team. We have a great president. We have a great vice president, and you have the best secretary there is.
Absolutely.
And we have to speak those things that are not as though they were not. And Dr. Buck, I'm going to get ready to go. I'm just doing this for them because they
You know, there's a Michigan game, right?
oh, that's right, yeah, okay. I did that on purpose, but I meant everything I said from the bottom of my heart, and I don't want this year to start without saying to Liz, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Liz.
Thank you so very, very much. It's not always easy working with all of these personalities, but I do want to say from me, thank you, and continue to do the work that your contract states. And how you really go above and beyond to support the
All the
Board of
time.
Education. She does. She really works hard. So thank you.
Did somebody make a motion to adjourn?
That was his adjournment comment. Was it? No,
It was.
But you removed the German as a comment. That was a problem.
know how he stole.
It's no,
Yeah, he just stole the comment. Secretary,
it's no German comment.
call the vote.
I have one more thing, no. Yes, President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowen,
Yes.
Trustee Doyle.
Yes.
Trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett.
people don't want to
Yeah.
go home. They've been up all day,
Motion
still
carries.
don't want to go home.
Motion
All right, so our meeting is officially adjourned at 7:10 PM. Have a great evening.
hour and a half.
Something to cover, yes.